Well, the Special Investigating Unit is currently trying to recover money awarded through the irregular Digital Vibes contract. The Health Department paid out around 150 million rand, and the SIU found that former Health Minister Willem Mkhize, his family and senior officials benefited from the contract. Let's discuss this right now. The next steps, that is, with Maverick Citizen editor Mark Heywood. Mr. Heywood, thank you for your time and good morning to you. That is the big question on every South African's lips, interested in seeing developments from this case. What should then be the next steps here?
Good morning. I think the next steps are fairly obvious. Within the Health Department, now has to conduct disciplinary inquiries into the officials who have been suspended and who have been implicated by the SIU. That includes the Director General, the Deputy Director General, and I think 6 other officials. And we need those disciplinary inquiries to take place rapidly in order that the department can recover and move on from this. There's also the question of criminal investigations. The Deputy Director General, Dr. Anban Pillay, I believe will be referred to the National Prosecuting Authority because there's suggestions of fraud and corruption that the SIU has found. And then, as you mentioned in your introduction, Tumelo, there are the efforts that must take place to recover the money. The SIU has already launched proceedings at the special tribunal, which is the special court set up to deal with these corruption matters and to try to recover money. They've managed to freeze, I think, about 22 million rand of the monies that were stolen, let's use the right word, by the Digital Vibes gang. But this involves much more than 22 million rand. It involves 150 million rand, and I think that the SIU should be aiming on recovering all of that money, because as far as we can see, none of it was put to proper use in communicating health campaigns.
Yeah, I mean, we heard that the Health Minister, Dr. Joe Phatla, reiterating that, saying that, you know, we know that former Health Minister Willem Mkhize resigned before the SIU report was even released. We know those other officials being suspended, but he did say those who equally jumped ship before the SIU report was released will also not, be let loose. They equally need to face these consequences. And I suppose he was referring there to Ian van der Merwe, the former CFO.
That's correct. I mean, 3 officials, I believe, have left the Health Department. Some have gone to other government departments. But, you don't escape the consequences of your action just by resigning a job. They must face disciplinary inquiries. The investigation must determine whether they, in fact, were guilty of financial misconduct, whether they were guilty of any criminal offences related to corruption and to fraud. We have to clean this whole stable out. The Health Department plays such a critical, pivotal role, literally, in the life of our nation. And, the distrust that develops when people think that the top leadership are really just involved in skimming the cream and in it for themselves is something that really carries through into the delivery of healthcare services, and whether it's a factor in whether people decide to have a vaccination for COVID or not. So there's a really big job, which I didn't mention in response to your initial question, of rebuilding trust, rebuilding confidence, rebuilding management capability. And it has to be a matter of national priority because, as I said, health, not just COVID-19, HIV, tuberculosis, cancer, various other non-communicable diseases are crippling our nation, costing our nation a lot of money, but most importantly, damaging millions of lives and opportunities.
Yeah, and I suppose what you're also saying is that it's going to take more than just the minister's apology, Dr. Joe Phatla, for what has happened with Digital Vibes, and more than what the president has said about the former health minister, saying that, he's done well to serve the nation. It's going to take more than that to rebuild. Mark, due to time, I have to leave it there, but thank you so much for speaking to me this morning. Maverick Citizen editor Mark Heywood.